Listen up, Gotham. This is Batman. Tune into the Bat Fan Addict podcast with Sammy Warm Hands. And if you don't, I'll be coming for you.
Hey everybody, it's the Dark Knight of Rap, Sammy Warm Hands, and this is not the Bat Fan Addict podcast. We were supposed to get together today and record our next 2 episodes, but goddamn, I was so blown away by everything I saw yesterday at DC Fandome that we had to drop a little something for you, just talking about the awesome trailers and first looks that we got to see. We're not even going to go into the video games and other stuff. There were so many great movies on deck. Wonder Woman 84, The Suicide Squad, Black Adam, Shazam 2, the motherfucking Snyder Cut, and then the mic drop moment from Matt Reeves. I haven't been this excited for a trailer since The Dark Knight. Blew me away with The Batman. So this is the unofficial Bat Fanatic podcast on DC Fandome. Just a quickie. I don't know. I know Ev didn't watch it. Ben, did you watch any of DC Fandome yesterday?
Who's ZACK SNYDER?
Well, if you watch Fandome, you'd know. So
that whole thing that's in lieu of being able to hold actual conventions or something?
Yeah, because a lot of the cons have been doing, virtual meet and greets, or like I did that virtual signing that Kevin Conroy had. I bought one where he was signing on Instagram Live, so like people have been doing workarounds and stuff, but like what we haven't had are like, the big studios that would come to San Diego and New York and be like, oh, well, here's all of our celebrity guests and here's the new shit we're working on, like
the exciting products.
Exactly. Gotcha. So like we've been doing some of those things online, but now DC was like, dude, we got so much shit up the sleeve though, like let's give the people a little taste. And so I know Jim Lee had a big hand in this, but man, just a huge...
Is that before or after he fired everyone?
Well, no, because I believe he himself has been taken down from publisher in some way. I don't know what's going on, but yeah, that was crazy to happen right before all this shit.
Yeah.
But man, they sure knew how to wash that taste out of everyone's mouth real quick.
Was that cool to watch, or did it seem like awkward or weird, or did it roll out good?
I thought it was great. I mean, they had like people from all over the world hosting little segments of it, and they were just on like a green screen on this giant Jim Lee stage that they had created.
What do you mean, Jim Lee? What does that look like?
He's drawn the Trinity, and he's drawn this big dome and this big stage that they're on, so it looks like they're at this, Stark Expo or something. They're just kind of green screened into it.
Cool.
And so
not a picture of his face over and over or something?
No. Yeah, it's a picture of his excited face, and they're hanging out in his mouth. Yeah.
Oh, God.
It was great. So not to drag this out, because we didn't get to record a full show today, I just wanted to touch on a few awesome things that have happened. So there was that terrible shakeup at DC and DC Direct going away, and many things that have already been talked about elsewhere. But I just want to talk about movies. This week it was announced. Well, what we're going to be here.
All these people lost their job, and it's rough and it's tough. But I just want to talk about movies.
Well, I'm saying like we got to focus. Or you said I don't want to do a long episode today. So how do we fast forward?
No, I'm just making fun of you, that's all. I'm
Yeah.
just giving you a little taste.
Sure.
Well, you'll have to wait for it.
Because we can't have the podcast, I have to find some way to mock you instead.
All right. So Affleck confirmed to come back, don the cowl in the Flashpoint movie, which, as far as I knew, was yesterday's news. That was gone. It was never going to happen again. Like when he left, that movie was off. So I don't know if we're getting a Jeffrey Dean Morgan, Thomas Wayne Batman, but Affleck is fucking back. And then you have to read the whole article and get to the bottom where Variety or Vanity Fair or whoever it was says, oh, and by the way, Michael Keaton will also reprise his role. I'm like, are you fucking kidding? Talk about bury the lead, man. So like,
talk about getting nuts.
Every time, you fuckers. So like, for me, it's like, holy shit, my 2 favorite Batmans are back at the same time, gonna share the same screen, man. That's fucking legendary.
It could be really cool. I mean, I could even see Ben Affleck as Thomas Wayne. Thomas Wayne in the comics is like big and gruff, even more so than Batman.
Well, yeah, but they already had Jeffrey Dean Morgan play him in BVS, and he had teased before that he was supposed to be Batman as Thomas in the Flashpoint movie, and it never happened. So, like, when Snyder was out and Affleck was out, and there was speculation about Cavill being in or out, that whole thing kind of went to the wayside. Same thing with Deathstroke, like we got that little tease of him. Like, well, guess we're never going to see that. But now that the Snyder Cut's happening, like, it seems like these doors have reopened again. It's pretty exciting.
At first, I thought that he was going to appear on the Flash television show, and I was like, oh, no. Amber has watched that in the past, and it is not awesome.
Well, I don't know if you know, but all the money is on the CW. That's where,
Yeah.
if you want to get paid well, you work on the CW.
I know
You
there's.
gotta work on a television serial. Quality is low.
I know they got this HBO Max thing right now, but if you really want to get the big bucks and the prestige really is on the CW.
Yeah.
All right, moving right along. Yesterday, they also dropped a new trailer for Wonder Woman 84. Fucking everything they dropped yesterday was so quality, really, really got me excited. They opened the day with the Wonder Woman 84 panel, so you've got everybody, Gal, Chris Pine, Robin Wright. I still don't understand how they haven't explained how Steve Trevor is back. They're just giving you so much cool footage. You're like, I guess it doesn't matter. I don't know.
He was in a plane over the Arctic, and then it crashed, and he got stuck in an iceberg, and then they just thawed him out.
Well, and last night I watched the original Wonder Woman again because I was stoked. And, that's such a poignant moment when he sacrifices himself and she sees what happens and goes fucking, Wolvie berserk mode and kills Ares. It kind of neuters the whole...
Yeah.
Nope.
Death doesn't exist.
Nothing ever really dies, or whatever that quote is.
Anyway, it looked great. I was glad that we got a lot of Kristen Wiig actually fighting as Kristen Wiig, because when she did turn into Cheetah, I was like, oh yeah, I figured that was going to get weird, and it did.
Yeah, it does.
She like the Target lady in a cat suit or something.
It's like somebody took the Target lady's face and then put it on like
the Cats movie.
Furry. Yeah.
Oh, I'm into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I didn't say I'm not into it. I just said it's weird.
Well, I wasn't convinced, but now I'm fully on board.
Yeah. But anyway, it looked great. They also did a panel for The Suicide Squad. Warner is in the habit right now of just taking the names of old movies and putting the in front of it. We have The Batman and The Suicide Squad, but man, I was blown away. James Gunn was super enthusiastic and just talking about all the crazy shit and saying he like brought over one of the effects dudes from the Marvel stuff he had done with Guardians. And he's like, this movie is so action-packed that he said it has more effects shots than all of the Marvel shit we worked on combined. It's just like non-stop, epic, crazy fucking shit going on. So
Non-stop trash tornadoes.
yes. Well, and everything that I saw, because they didn't put out like a proper trailer, it's like a behind-the-scenes featurette. So it's kind of little glimpses of the filming and little bits of promo stuff being shot and then the cast talking about what's going on. But I mean, it looks like a fucking epic war movie, just like cranked to 10. I mean, it really surprised me what they were going for with this one. Because I mean, I liked the whole cast on the first one. I still think that the original unedited version is probably really good. I've watched this version that was released a lot of times, but it's always like, oh, I sure loved the first half of this movie, and then it's just like marching to the trash in the sky,
Is Big Willie gonna be in it again?
Actually, no, and they had they had Idris Elba to replace him, but then they like actually recast because they wanted to leave the door open for Will to come back. So Idris is playing a different character. Anyway, great cast. Amanda Waller's back, Viola Davis, Rick Flag is back. A bunch of the cast from the first one, and then a shitload of obscure, random-ass tertiary characters. But they made us care about them the first time, so I have faith that they'll do it again. And again, the action just looks insane.
That's awesome. I liked the style in that movie the whole time. I liked the text on screen and the soundtrack and the visual style. It was all cool to me.
Yeah, and it seems like they're sort of keeping with that, even though they're changing the general like tone of it and the scope of it. They're not fighting a CGI army and shit. It looks like some actual real threat.
That's good because I don't buy that.
Yeah,
I think I only got halfway into that movie, and I like some of it. And they're all standing on a roof, and I just went, no, I don't want to watch it anymore.
Oh, good.
I've had enough. That's fine, I guess.
yeah, it's one of those, like, I know it's a bad movie, but I've watched it a lot of times just because I really love the cast. Another thing that was awesome in the new reveal that is all over my Instagram today is that we finally get Harley Quinn actually dressed like Harley Quinn.
Like red and black?
Yeah, it's like her Arkham style, the corset and the long pants, even the black and red hair instead of the pink and blue. And, you know, she's got a fucking rocket launcher in the, I don't want to call it a trailer, but in the clips they showed, you know, like, it just looks super badass. She's finally, like, right on brand. Because, I mean, she's always given great performances, but, like, the looks are all over the place. I like them, I don't like them, you know, and everything in between. But this one is like every single person was like, yes, they finally did it. Something we can agree on.
That's good because nobody loves ladies in short pants.
Well, confetti jackets and, you know,
Strictly long pants.
it is some weird shit. All right, so moving on, we also got little teasers for Black Adam with The Rock, little teasers for Shazam 2. They had a bunch of their cast on there. They did a weird bit with Sinbad because he's like talking about that shit where people remember seeing Sinbad in a Shazam movie. And Zachary Levi's like, don't you mean Kazam? He's like, no, they think I was in that too. That was Shaq. And so he's like, so I'm really glad you guys signed me on to be in Shazam 2. He's like, no, nobody did. He's like, yeah, I'm in it. I'm going to be in the motherfucker. And so, I don't know. It was weird. It's weird, but it was funny. It's like they didn't have anything they could show, so they just did a bit. But
So they hired Sinbad.
I haven't seen Sinbad since that fucking episode of Always Sunny.
With Rob Thomas.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, man. Fast forwarding to the good shit. Zack Snyder had Ben Affleck and Henry Cavill and Ray Fisher and Ezra Miller and everybody in talking about the Snyder Cut. And when we finally got to see a taste of it, man, opening with that shot of Darkseid, man.
I really love what people have been doing lately with remixing songs. I love that stuff. Like that's a dope song, and that guy's what? You don't like it, man?
Not only do I not like that song, I don't like that version of it. I don't know who is that done by somebody important or famous.
That's the original Leonard Cohen version.
Really? I thought he sang more in key in the original version.
He's a terrible singer. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I guess I just don't like that song.
I think it's cool. It's powerful.
I love that song. People had pointed out that was the same song they used in the Silk Spectre love scene in Watchmen. It's like, oh, you know, I forgot about that because I had a boner the whole time and the blood was not in my brain.
My hearing is the first thing to go when the wiener gets popping.
But I thought it was kind of perfect because it's like, you know, this is a movie that nobody thought would ever come out, you know? And so that sort of like hallelujah moment of like, yeah, dude, it's real. Check it out. I just thought that was really exciting.
That makes sense. I was just, I really appreciate what different things have been doing with the soundtracks lately, like Guardians or Umbrella Academy or something. There's just like a lot of really good remixes going on. Even if this is the original version.
I'm pretty sure it is, but...
I didn't know if it was or not. I don't think I ever heard it.
So they got that awesome shot that goes back to the BVS Nightmare Batman where, you know, the Hall of Justice is destroyed. There's a bunch of shit that people tried to enhance in this image. You got like Wonder Woman's broken shield, and right as it goes over, God, you got to have an eye and just go through this frame by frame. But like as it zooms over the broken like arc, the Hall of Justice, you actually see right up by the camera for a split second the Joker card that was attached to Nightmare Batman's rifle float past the camera. Just like so many random little details. It's like as the parademons swoop in, man, it kind of makes you think like, I wonder if this movie's going to open with an invasion and like they all lose. I mean, think about an Endgame where they're like, well, can't we just go back in time and fix it? And they're like, no, it doesn't work like that. Well, with Flash, you can. So it kind of makes me wonder, like, they're not going to fucking lose and all die.
Zack Snyder's he's a renegade filmmaker.
He's pretty dark.
Yeah, he's dark, so dark.
Well, I mean, spoiler alert, but it's been known for a long time that...
I haven't seen this movie, by the way.
Well,
the original version of it.
It's not out, so no one's seen it.
No, but I mean, the original Justice League.
The Joss Whedon. Oh, okay. Well, this has nothing to do with that, really.
In your face, man.
Just before you were about to tell me that they all died at the end or something.
Well, no, but the rumor was that in the original 2-part Justice League that was supposed to be made, Batman would die. And so I don't know if this is containing the arc that would have been 1 and 2, or if it's just, because like a lot of sequels, they get shot kind of at the same time, So I don't know if they were doing that or if this only takes us through what would have been part 1, but shit gets pretty dark. It makes me wonder how they're going to play that out. If it's like a fake out, like, oh yeah, shit got really fucked up, but then we turn back time and save the day, or what all this means.
Well, it just seems like in the wake of Endgame and Infinity War, that's risky to do that again. Another story that involves like something like that, like going back and undoing it, or redoing it.
True, but in fairness, this was first.
No.
I mean, this was shot.
I don't think that's fair at all.
4 years ago. I don't know. I think it looks cool. One thing I was really excited about that was not like a big flashy reveal was just seeing some of the more heartfelt moments with Martha Kent and Lois Lane. Clark coming back, and I mean, they really did them a disservice as actors, I thought, Diane Lane and Amy Adams, because they're both just phenomenal. And in the comedic Justice League scenes that they had, it was just so cringe-inducing. I just really, they tried to force comedy so hard. And, man, it just makes me really glad that we're going to actually get to see them perform and do what they do best,
How do you know it's not just going to be the same jokes, but this time they're frowning?
Yeah.
They're just longer comedy scenes.
Yeah, with different color grading.
Yeah.
Hallelujah is playing in the background to make you very sad.
Yeah.
I liked how some of the trailer visually synced up with the music. There'd be like boom, boom, and Batman takes a couple lasers to the gauntlet and stuff. It's cool.
Yeah, and another great thing is that we're finally getting the full Cyborg that we were supposed to get. He was one of my favorite parts. I thought Ray Fisher was great in the first one, but he was kind of barely in it. And that's when people started to realize, like, wait, a lot of the shit from the first trailer wasn't even in the movie, So we get like that shit of him playing football or whatever. I mean, this
character was just cut from the movie in large quantities. Or a lot of that characters. I'm asking, is that what it was? Was he?
He was greatly reduced, but he was really a scene stealer. I mean, that was his first movie, and he was just like, I don't know, he's outshining everybody. I thought the first time I watched it, I was like, damn, like, how was he kind of my favorite part? That was great, but it wasn't very much. And so I was glad to see a lot of this stuff restored. They even kind of give away a spoiler in it because they show his dad get disintegrated right there in front of him. I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah, as someone who hasn't seen the original version of the movie, I thought that was like, oh, well, now I know Miles Dyson gets incinerated halfway through this movie.
Yeah, no, you don't, though.
Minutes.
You don't, though, because, again, like, I can't stress enough. Like, Snyder had said that he refuses to watch the movie, but he has extensively, like, talked to fans and read what fans have said about it and, their descriptions of scenes. And he's like, from what I can tell, they used tops 25% of the footage we did, and everything else was reshot. And then I found a quote from his cinematographer saying that he did watch it, and he was like trying to find shit that he shot. Like, where the fuck, what is all this? And he summed that it was probably more like 10% of the original footage was what was actually seen. So, I mean, they are drastically different movies, and this is going to be on HBO Max in 4 hour-long installments, and then a supercut.
All stuff that he shot before, or they shot new stuff for this?
From what I understand, all they're doing is finishing up the CGI. They might be doing some overdubs or something like that, but they're not like going back to set and making a new third act or some shit like that. They're just finishing the shit that was already there because the work print is so much just like, oh, there's green screen and there's a prop flying by that's going to be CGI later, you know, shit like that. So that's my understanding of it. But yeah, I'm really, really excited. I thought this was a great time to give us a real taste of it. And you would think that that would be the marquee appearance, you know, the big name, because everyone's been so stoked in the build up to it for all this time. But there was another portion that headlined the show, and that was Matt Reeves, the Batman.
Yeah, it's a freaking rad trailer.
Holy fuck, man. I watched this from 10 a.m. to 6. That was the whole live broadcast. I mean, I was at work. I was at work here on my other desk, but I had it playing the whole time. I just mute it when I got calls. And when this happened, it was kind of an afterthought to me. I was like, man, all this shit's been great. And it's like, yeah, they'll probably... I knew they only shot like a quarter of the movie and had to stop. So I'm like, what are we going to get? 30 seconds? You know, like, we're not going to get much. They might show us like a couple photos or something. I didn't think it would be what we got. And they start with Rob Pattinson, and he's looking like he did fall asleep in his chair. And the most like monotone, unenthusiastic, like, I really look forward to working on this film again. Like, you watch everybody else all day long, and they're like, I'm so excited. This is going to be the coolest shit you've ever seen. I can't wait to share. And he's like, yeah, I look forward to revisiting this character when we can go back to set. And
he's just keeping it real, man. He's not being fake. He's an artist. He's a dark, brooding artist, and he's been living that life. You know, he's not pumped. He's not pumped about anything.
No, he only feels alive when he's on set working. You know, really putting his craft out there.
Now that I understand.
And if somebody actually did wake him up for a nap for an interview, then I'd be mad also.
Well, the whole thing was pre-recorded, though. That was, you could tell all this shit was from a while ago, and they chopped it up and made it look real snappy for the audience on the live stream. But anyway, that happened, and I was like, okay.
This is definitely a live stream. What do you think about that extremely hot weather we've had today?
Well, I mean, there were people interacting with each other and stuff, but it seemed to me that they were probably like Zoom calls that were just dumped in editing, you know. But anyway, Matt Reeves comes on, and he starts talking, and I feel like I'm listening to a Batman podcast. Like, this dude is just going on and on about how, oh yeah, I'm so excited because it's year 2, and you know, we've seen the origin a bunch of times, so we're not going to go into that. We're going to talk about Gotham. We're going to watch him struggle, and we're going to talk about corruption, and then see how his family does fit into that. So we're not going to do the origin, but it's still going to tie into the and he's just like going on and on and on like an excited kid who just read the coolest comic ever and wants to tell you about it, you know. And
He seems pumped.
Yeah, dude, and I'm like on the edge of my seat. Ange walks in, she gets home from work, and I'm like, dude, I've been watching this dude like ramble on for 15 minutes, and I can't get enough. Like, this has been as exciting as as watching a trailer. He hasn't showed me a picture or anything, and it's like, man, he's getting me so stoked because the way he's talking about the characters, you know, the Riddler and Catwoman and Bruce, and the things that he wants to do with them, it's like, holy fuck. I mean, I had nothing but faith in this director since...
What else has he done?
He did the last 2 Planet of the Apes movies. He did Cloverfield.
Okay.
He's done a lot of really creative
I like all those movies.
Yeah, the heart that he brought to the Caesar character in the Planet of the Apes was just... I mean, I like full-on wept watching that shit. I mean,
yes.
And I had never seen the originals at all. I didn't care. But he did such a great job with those that I was thrilled, as much as I was sad when Affleck left, and I resented that. I thought, well, at least they couldn't have picked someone better to direct.
Yeah. Well, no, so Robert Peterson.
Robin Peterson.
Is it Robert, as I call him, Robbie.
Yes. We're friends.
I really liked him in the Harry Potter movies, and then I never watched Twilight. I think I watched maybe the first 20 minutes of the first one.
Wait.
Just because, like, I bet you there's something like redeeming in this because it's so popular.
I've seen some Twilight.
Did.
I didn't even know Pattinson was in the Harry Potter movies.
Yeah, Cedric Diggory. He's a good character. He's a very good actor, and
He dies.
Oh, you're spoiling Harry Potter too?
Oh shit, biscuits.
Oh. But I saw Lighthouse with him and Willem Dafoe. He was fantastic in the movie. They work in a lighthouse together, and it's just like a terrible storm, and they're just kind of trapped there running the lighthouse, and they're both going nuts, and like they hate each other, and he's fantastic. He has great range, so I was really excited to see him in this, and it's nice to see a young Bruce Wayne too, because I feel like they've all been old lately.
Yeah,
always.
Always.
Well,
I mean,
and it's not a flashback. We're currently seeing him in the past.
Yeah, because we did just see, we talked about Christian Bale's mop top in Batman Begins. You know, we do see some of that, but...
Flashback. I think this looks dope. I know why people would have their reservations about stuff, I guess, but I think if you had reservations, it would be because you were only familiar with Pattinson from Twilight. He's definitely one of those dudes who, like, got into the industry as a young person and played young person roles, but then actually is a gifted actor and was like, shit, I need to seek out like awesome artistic character developing roles, and I feel like he's going to kill it.
Yeah, he wants to be taken seriously.
He definitely does. Yeah.
Yeah, I had a bunch of people recommend certain things because when he was first announced, I was furious. I don't even.
You watched all 8 of the Twilight movies. You knew he was not the right fit.
Yes, I've seen all those movies multiple times. My wife was obsessed with those books, so when the movies came out,
can't be sparkly.
I went to all of them.
He'll show up in the shadows.
But no, I went to see the like Good Time, and I forget what else had been recommended to me, and I was like,
"Did you watch Good Time?"
Yeah, and it's not a good movie.
Did you have a good time watching Good Time?
No. Everyone's like, oh, yeah, it's great. You should totally check it out. And they're hyping it up. And then it's like, but what was the point of the movie? Just to show, like, oh, also I can act, but, like, the story has no consequence or any sort of arc at all? Like,
did you watch Uncut Gems?
Yeah, I love that movie.
Okay, because somebody told me the same guys did it, and they're similar movies. But
I mean, I guess in a way, because it's sort of like a continuous story that's...
downward spiral of a person.
Exactly, the unraveling. So, I mean, I guess I could get that, but yeah, I watched that and I was not pleased. And then, you know, the photos we saw of him, I was just like, this is, first of all, the worst cowl ever. You know, the chest armor and stuff's cool. It looks kind of like the Arkham games.
Yeah.
No problem there. But also, he's just like little. And like Keaton, it's shadowy and it's so unnatural the way he's presented, that his size doesn't really matter as much.
Well, they don't show a lot of Michael Keaton actually fighting like the way all the modern Batmans actually try and focus at least on some kind of martial arts stuff.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really matter with Michael Keaton because it's just the voice.
And just his face and the cowl, man. Like, this is just the dumbest looking shit. And I know it's supposed to be like an early rendition before he gets it figured out, so I'm hoping there's going to be some great third act reveal, you know, like, you know.
The Joel Schumacher bright reflection.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I was going to say that, like in Batman Forever, you know, he gets the sonar suit for the last act of the movie, you know, and that's supposed to be cool, but it isn't. But can we get a version of that?
Shut up.
Where it's improved? Anyway, the look did not do him any favors, in my opinion. But, man, this trailer dropped, and the opening shots, we just reviewed for the upcoming episodes. We're doing The Long Halloween and Dark Victory, and this could not be better timed. The Riddler clues, the duct tape face, you know, and the shit like Sharpied on him. I mean, it's got very Hangman vibes, holiday vibes. We get this awesome shot of Gordon. I love Jeffrey Wright is his name, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, Jeffrey Wright is so perfect as Gordon. We get just a little tease of Andy Serkis's Alfred's voice in the narration, and like, oh man, just everything about this it's like it's straight out of the Jeff Loeb, Tim Sale shit.
Well, I'm sure it's a thing that a lot of people have commented on and will comment on. But the moment that really hooked me, I think it's just the very end of the trailer when the guy like challenges him.
Oh my God!
He punches him in the face like 8 times, 10 times. Yeah. It's just after. I mean, that's with maybe the exception of some of the Ben Affleck stuff. No Batman movie has really impressed me with the fighting in the suit. Mm-hmm. Like I've enjoyed the action scenes and it still worked, but like they don't convince me that he's a master martial artist. That he's super fast and he can just really beat the shit out of someone.
He's not very mobile. Yeah.
He seems slow.
We talked about that.
It works if you're fighting like one person, you could be really big, or even a couple people if you're much bigger than them and you're strong. But like if you're gonna fight tons of people and dodge and jump around, you should be pretty quick. And this Batman looks quick. Yeah,
we talked about that in Batman Begins, in how we see this awesome like prison yard fight in the beginning, but then when we see him in the suit, it's all very choppy editing and
really close,
kind of overcompensating for the fact that you can't move. But with this, I mean, holy shit. All over my Instagram today, people just have that 12-second clip of him just knocking the fuck out of this dude. And again, it's got major Affleck vibes, but he's smaller, just more pissed.
Well, that's what I think. It really conveys, like, he's not holding himself back. He's just going to town on this dude. He's not pulling punches, which is kind of Affleck-esque. You'd be trying to just hit dudes as hard and as quickly as possible, but what I like about this is that it's like he's doing it, but he's new to it. He's not so experienced that he just like 1-2 and then move on to the next guy. He's taking this dude out in front of these other guys, but moreover, that he continues to punch him after he's clearly down. Like, you don't always get to see Batman let loose this like dark rage that must exist in him.
Yeah.
And he's just using that dude as a punching bag on the ground.
Yeah, or what his fighting would look like in reality.
Yeah.
Again, with having a fighting style that's designed to fight a bunch of people at once and also intimidate them. I mean,
well, yeah, that's like the big thing, is he's setting an example in front of this whole gang of dudes. Like, who the fuck are you, man? And like, well, let me answer your question real quick. And then,
is this your leader?
Yeah, I mean, it's some mutant leader shit. It really is,
Yeah,
Well, I like that shot because it reminded me of the mutant leader shot, and that it was the same thing where it's just like a completely flat on angle shot that doesn't cut away.
Yes,
you can just really see everything that's happening. It's not.
Yeah.
They're just letting the choreography do the work.
They let it go all the way until dude is on the ground and has been punched twice more, and then it cuts to the reaction of the other dudes like, oh shit. And then we get that great, like, I'm vengeance, It's just a shout out to Kevin Conroy. I fucking love that shit. But I mean, when I watched that, Ange was in the shower on the other end of the house, and I was fucking screaming. I was just like, oh my God.
Are you okay? Are you all right?
Oh my, dude, oh my God. I could not believe, and it was a live stream too, so you couldn't like rewind it. I was just like, holy shit. And then we get the little shot of the turbines on the back of the Batmobile, fucking grappling hook shot, again, like we're going to talk about the Dark Knight trilogy because that's what we're reviewing right now. But, man, seeing some good, I would say, Keaton-esque grappling hook shit, that makes my day. We get the awesome fucking new logo reveal as the lettering slides in. And again, it looks like the Year One Bat flying through the window. The way it's kind of smaller and more arced and a pronounced head on it. Like, I really love it. And then at the end of the trailer, he takes off the cowl, and we finally see, and I was talking to Ev, I was like, what episode was it that I said, let's just see the fucking face paint, Yeah, let's just see the face paint, man. And so they finally gave us that. Again, it's like they're taking what Nolan did and going even more real, even more gritty. I've seen people say, like, it reminds me of the movie Seven or something. And I thought it was funny. Like, at this point, David Fincher just needs to make a DC movie because we got them Todd Phillips aping him in Joker, and now Matt Reeves aping him in the Batman. And people had pointed out that the Batman font is the same exact font as Joker. Very strange.
And David Fincher was in the background of that one scene, and he tipped his fedora to the audience.
Oh, man. But yeah, dude, I had a great day yesterday, and
I fainted 3 times.
man, I've watched this.
I had one of those 3 times.
I had already watched this trailer like over and over last night, and then as we've been talking, I've just had it on loop in the background. Just man, again, I look at him and I still don't see Batman, especially when he's out of the costume. I don't see Bruce. No matter how many times I watch this, I'm hoping that'll change in time, but it doesn't even matter to me because everything else is so fucking good that I'm looking at this going, he may be making the greatest Batman movie, period, and I just need to get over this.
Well, 2 things come to mind for me. So the first, in regard to what you just said, the first one is that Christian Bale, like, to me, Christian Bale still doesn't look like Bruce Wayne.
Really?
When we watch these movies. No, I mean, I see Bruce Wayne as like a 6'3" guy with like short black hair and built like a linebacker. And Christian Bale, Christian Bale got buff, but he's not super tall and he's not that big. And I believe him as a character, and I love those movies. But like, so visually, he didn't really line up, and it didn't bother me at all. So I'm not worried about Robert Pattinson. But then the other side of it too is there's a comic that came out like 20 years ago or somewhere around that. It was a Wolverine comic, but it was done by a Japanese illustrator or author. And it's like, well, Wolverine gets sent into the future and almost everyone's dead, but there are these weird monsters or something. They're the only things around. But the way Wolverine is drawn in that series is like Robert Pattinson in real life. He's like super skinny and small. And that's one of my favorite Wolverine comics. It's Snicket is the name of the comic. Snicket. That's fun. But so Batman being so wrong, even though I've complained about, I see Batman as one way physically.
Yeah.
This one, I'm not worried at all. I mean, the movie could be terrible, but from what I've seen, he doesn't bother me at all.
I feel the opposite of that, in that he doesn't look right, but the movie's going to be amazing.
I feel the same way as Ben, in that none of these people ever really truly resemble the characters to me, and so therefore I just need to attempt to accept all of them because they're all just different versions of those characters.
You're just justifying George Clooney more.
No, that's just how I feel, because like hand drawings that's like the genre that these things truly belong in. Like, they're meant to be comics, but they found their way into cartoons, which makes the most sense because more hand drawings, but then they became live action things, and I've never super agreed with anybody's casting short of like Patrick Stewart, and I mean pretty much Patrick Stewart. That's pretty much the end of it for me.
And it's just because he's an excellent actor and he's bald.
Yeah, exactly. Because I like his voice. He seems like a smart guy, and he's bald. And
fuck you, James McAvoy.
Yeah, I mean,
he seems like an idiot, real dummy.
That's how I feel in general. So, in the same way that if we read something by Jim Lee, and then I read something by Tim Sale, and then another artist, that's also how I have to feel about these actors. Like, if each one of these different iterations of art are the same character, then so are these actual humans just that character, and I just need to be okay with it.
But the only difference there to me is that other than like Frank Miller's Batman, all the Batman kind of look the same. They have the same kind of hair, the same body type. They're big. The Frank Miller Batman is gigantic, but all the rest of them are just big.
Yeah.
Where all these actors are like humans are very different.
Yeah, and honestly, I was thinking about that yesterday anyways, because reading this Long Halloween, like, one, you could never find an actor that lumpy. That's just not going to happen. Nobody's going to be this lumpy. But also, I know how when we talk about, like, he must be freaking big. And then I was thinking about how weird it would be for him to actually be like the size of a football player. And I was like, I don't think I actually even buy this anymore. Like, I think that
I'm over Batman.
It's not
believable.
I just don't think that makes a lot of sense, because if you saw 6'4", 240 Bruce Wayne, like, doing normal business in a suit, you'd be like, what the fuck is going on with this dude? Like, nobody is that massive for no reason.
Well, but you said that on the Dark Knight Returns episode too, of like, yeah, but if he actually is this size, then you just see Bruce Wayne walking down the street and be like, oh hey, he's Batman.
Oh, what's up, dude? Yeah, exactly. So I don't think anymore that that really actually makes sense. It makes sense as a superhero because the imagery and And I guess he just should look like that because dudes are just massive. But I buy more of a guy who is slightly shorter, really strong for his size, but is mostly just really good at fighting and really smart, and he's a tactician.
The only thing I'll say with that is that the comics do bend over, at least at different times, to come up with excuses where, like, he's pretended to be out of town on a ski trip so that people go, is he Batman? And then he comes up with some kind of ruse to trick them into. Yeah. Even though they have the exact same body. Yeah. And it's strange that he would have that body. He's not Batman. He was filming an episode of Who's the Boss that day. So.
He should be on, like, The Bachelor or something like that. You know?
Yeah, seriously.
I think that when Evan watches a movie, it's got to be similar to when I, like, watch Justice League and I'll see Batman make stupid jokes, and I'll think back in my head to the original trailer of the same scene and be like, God, I wish it was like that version. I wish I wasn't seeing this rewritten stupid thing. But I imagine he is just watching any movie with live actors, and there's just drawings over the top of them. Like, oh, man, I just wish this was a cartoon.
Yeah. You know what my main gripe about this whole thing is that it's just not a bunch of illustrations. It'd be a lot cooler as a cartoon. I mean, you can take the same thing. You could have big name voice actors.
Yeah.
You could have Ben Affleck voice Bruce Wayne.
Robert Patterson could be the voice of Batman.
Yeah, exactly. And you can just draw them however you want. We've talked about many times how the choreography is never better than in the animated versions. They just need to keep this shit going. Yeah.
Well, if there's anything I've learned from this, if you complain enough and make enough, like, internet hashtags and groups and stuff, you can get your way too. So
also, and you know, like, how incredible cartoons with a big budget can look. And that's big budget for a cartoon, and they never have the budget that a movie does. If anybody ever actually put that much money into animation, how good it could look.
Lego Batman.
Yes, exactly.
That is a huge budget animated Batman film.
Yeah.
All right, this was longer than I expected.
We can't not talk for a while when we see each other.
I was just going to put it as like a social media post, but now it's just going to have to be an episode, so...
I thought it was going to be like one of those YouTube videos where you just played the trailer. It was just us going, oh.
If you haven't seen it, go scroll through my stories real quick and find the video of me, because when I saw the fight and I was like yelling, just like hollering, that's what I'll say. And I surprised myself what was coming out of my mouth. And so I hit record on my phone as I continued reacting to, like, the end of the trailer.
Like you were filming Cloverfield.
We
gotta get this camera on.
Yeah. And
you
so,
just cast the tail end of a lady scream.
Yeah. But, like, watched it today. It made me laugh pretty hard just at myself. And that was like an 80% of what was 10 seconds earlier, too. It was just...
This is Robin. Thanks for checking out the Bat Fanatic podcast with Sammy Warm Hands.
All right, once again, that was just a bonus episode here of the Bat Fanatic podcast. Shout out to Radar Toys as always. I'm going to go there this week and pick up my copy of 3 Jokers. I can't wait. I hope you do the same. We're going to come back regularly scheduled. This will not interrupt the flow of the show. We had The Dark Knight Returns. We're going to continue with Frank Miller, the original David Mazzucchelli drawn Year One, all right? So the show must go on. Show continues right on schedule this Friday. You got one more chance to catch up, listen to The Dark Knight Returns animated review that we did, and then we're going to go right into Year One. So thanks for listening again. Bonus episode. Pulled it right out of our assholes. We'll see you next time.